Hello, listeners. You are listening to the GTHub podcast, and this will be a very special edition, which is the Formula special, which will look over the upcoming FIA Formula E Championship that will start in just this weekend at Hong Kong, and will be the recap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But first, before we get to that, we need to tie up some news items that we didn't get to mention last week. And joining me this week are the usual cast of Josh.
Hello.
And Rob.
Hi.
So, Rob, there was something you wanted to bring up.
Yes, it was the Aston Martin Vantage GTE launch in London last Tuesday. Yes, British occasion. Yes, it was a green car.
Hang on. I can hear God Save the Queen in the background.
God save our gracious...
No singing.
I was going to say, I could do...
Oh, good, he died. Excellent.
Right, so it's just you and I then for the next hour and a bit. Right.
Right. I think we can manage.
I tell you what, I was going to say, shall I find the version of God Save the Queen by the Sex Pistols from the mid-1970s?
Oh, goodness gracious, I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah.
If either one of you play it, I will mute both of you.
Well, that's one not to search.
Fascist regime. Yeah, those were the actual lyrics from the song, by the way, dear listener.
Anyway...
but yes, the new
this has gone off
Vantage
wrong already.
was...
You know this.
Yes, the new car was launched in London. Michelin were confirmed as the tyre supplier of choice.
Boo.
Alex Lynn was confirmed as a factory Aston Martin driver.
Yay!
It's got a twin-turbo AMG-derived V8, good for about 530 horsepower. But from what I've heard online, it still does sound like an Aston Martin Vantage.
Boo.
Which is kind of good.
I really like the Aston Martin Vantage. Like, I can imagine it's one of those cars that whatever you do to it, it's still going to be an Aston Martin Vantage, and it's still going to be really, really good. I honestly,
the engine bothers me. It's just an AMG GTR and less expensive clothing. It
doesn't look that good compared to the other Vantages. I think it looks very kind of monocle and mustache, but I think that when it comes to how it actually performs, I mean, you can't go wrong with an Aston Martin, surely.
It's going to be quite an interesting car to see next year on track, because it's the old Aston Martin Vantage was based on a car that first came into racing back, when was it, 2011,
9 years old,
2012?
by the way, that old Vantage, and still going to continue next year, so it'll be end up being 10 years old before it finishes its racing tenure.
Yes, because of course they can't run the new car in GTE AM, so Paul Dall'Anna, Pedro Lamy and Matthias Lauda, if they do decide to defend their title, will have to stick with what they're currently running.
Well, all signs point to Paul Dall'Anna coming back next year, so probably be in the old Vantage.
And
or the current Vantage, yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the ELMS Aston teams, I think it's either TF Sport or Beachdean.
And TF Sport.
Oh, right. Oh, wow, so you might have 3 of the big old V8 beasts next year.
Well, if TF Sport commits to WC, then there'll be one. I think Beachdean already more or less has said they're going to go WC next season, or for the super season.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like everyone needs to say it that way. The super season!
The super season!
The super season! He says, trying to imitate Brian Blessed.
Oh, yes, there you go. Like Josh. Anyway.
The Super Weltmeisterschaft.
Oh, God.
Oh, now it's German.
Ish. With a bit of English chucks in for good measure, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
I think they're coming. Aston launched their car that has an AMG engine in it, and they're running on French tires. Excellent. So it's an Anglo-French Germanic thing.
Now, having said that the new Aston Martin Vantage doesn't look that good, I love the GTE version. The GTE version's actually good. I mean, I don't love it, I don't know why I said that. It looks good. I think it looks more like an RC
I
car.
don't love it.
I don't love it.
I think you're the first one who doesn't like the Vantage GTE. Actually.
No, I like it. It looks more like an RC car than a GT, but it would be a very good looking RC car.
Oh, that would be a brilliant Traxxas car. Someone needs to make one now.
Yes, it certainly would look good.
That would be amazing. Yes.
And to be honest, the current Aston Martin GT or GT3, whichever version you get, is
GT3 is not on the horizon.
Just yet.
Well, yes, but the current one.
The V12 one, yes.
Yeah, that's by far my favorite GT3 car.
That's
so far,
the one
so.
I hope they keep, actually. I'm wondering how that one will look, because if that's a GTE car with all the aero, you can only imagine the GT3 version is going to be even more bonkers, and it's probably going to have the V12 in it.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's going to be great. As I said in the last episode, I was at the International GT Open last year, so 2016 at Silverstone, and there were 2 or 3 cars that just sounded exceptional, and the Aston Martin Vantage was definitely one of those, driven by Sally Jolic and Ewan Hankey, and it was a good.
Sally Jolic, the one of the underrated AMs in sports cars at the moment.
Absolutely.
Turkish driver, bronze rated.
Is he another quiz answer?
No.
Damn.
He is probably.
Don't worry, there's plenty more.
He is probably though the best driver to come out of Turkey, but
He's probably the only driver to come out of Turkey. In fairness.
No, he's not. There was a Turkish driver called Can Artem, who I believe tested for Jordan at the Turkish Grand Prix back in 05, I think it was. It may have been.
then again, everyone tested for Jordan that year, including a 50-year-old. But
that was Hanek Nissani, but then again, Nissani was driving for Minardi, and that was in 2004.
Oh, okay. Oh no, but he did test.
15-year-old tested an F1 car.
No, 50.
Oh, 50. I thought you said 15. I was going to say, Josh, what were you doing in an F1 car?
Oh my word! I did do the Super League Young Drivers test last week, but that was a simulator series, so. But still.
I was just about to say Super League. Isn't that defunct single-seater series?
No, that would actually be a very live sim racing series at the moment. But anyway, when it. I think wasn't there a GP2 driver apart from whatever his name was, Jason
Can Artem.
Can Artem, that's it. Jason Tahincioglu, was he?
Ah, yes, I think he may have been the guy who tested for Jordan. I can't remember if it was him or Artem who tested.
Yeah, I think it was probably Artem in that case, but I'm pretty sure that Jason Tahincioglu was also. Turkish,
We've reached obscure single-seater racing driver time, everybody.
Yes.
I'm going to research that.
He was born in Bristol.
Who was?
Jason Tahincioglu was born in Bristol.
Born in Bristol, right.
Yes, he drove the... he was the first Turkish driver to race, to drive a Grand Prix car. He'd done a test for Jordan.
Oh, good. Okay.
At Silverstone in 2005. So.
Then again,
how old was he? 50?
Oh no, he wasn't.
50 was he wasn't. I think the 50-odd-year-old may have been Hanek Nissani.
It was Kanak Nissani, who now has a son racing in the single-seater categories, and that would be Roy Nissani.
Yes, in the now defunct Formula V8 3.5.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Wait, Roy Nissani, as in does he drive a Nissan?
No, but he
Sorry,
probably
it had to be done.
He probably will be a Nissan factory driver one day if anyone has a sense of humour, or
anyone has any marketing sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, old Hanek Nissani. It was on his 42nd birthday. He drove in first practice for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
42nd. I thought he was 50.
He was.
Okay.
He was 12 points. He was only 12.9 seconds slower than the fastest in the field, which was probably Schumacher.
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, so he did pretty well then.
Yes,
he went a lot faster than an HRT would.
True, and his first session ended up in the gravel trap after a spin. Despite this, he initially complained that the car had too much grip.
Okay.
That was the first time said about a Jordan ever.
No, that was a Minardi.
Oh, even better then.
He was the reason why he was their third driver is because he's
He had
very
money?
popular in Hungary. He's based in Budapest, Hungary, and
Hang on, I would have thought the most popular Hungarian was Zolt Baumgartner.
yeah, but he was also quite popular at national level.
Wasn't Kenneth
In
Nissany
Hungary.
Israeli? Because his son
Yes.
certainly is.
Yes, he was born in Tel Aviv. He's a businessman, but now based in Budapest. He raced
Hang
in
on,
the...
there's Israeli race drivers?
Yeah, Roy Nissany,
Yes.
Kenneth Nissany, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, Alain Day is one. Never mind.
yeah.
Forgot about him.
And he competed in the Formula 2000 Hungarian National Championship and won it in 2003, 2004, 2006, 2007,
Oh, I can only
and
assume in a
2009.
field of 5.
I have no idea, but you're
If
probably
he
not
won
far
the
off.
title for that long, surely that meant is because it was a field of 5 cars.
Did he say it was like the Hungarian National Single-Seater Championship or something like that?
Pretty much, yes. Although
That doesn't exactly fill me with confidence, that name.
You think,
national
Josh?
a national single-seater series that I've never heard of. Sounds very club racing to me.
Now you're working on my levels of most single-seater series. A national junior single-seater series I've never heard of. Interesting.
No, it wasn't a junior single-seater series, because...
Everything is a junior single series.
Well, I mean... Not really, but... Okay.
yes, and that brings us quite nicely along to
The only
Formula.
thing that isn't a major major single-seater series is IndyCar, F1, and F2. Everything else below that is junior single-seater
So, well,
series.
F2 is
and Super Formula.
F2 is a junior category because...
Yeah, but the drivers are more or less professionals, so I...
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
Well, I'd argue Sean Galil.
Sean Galile's been
professional.
confirmed for next year in Formula 2. And he's
He
Well, where
was
else
the first
is he gonna go?
He was the first driver to crash in the pit lane tunnel in Abu Dhabi. I think it was last year or the year before last.
No.
In
he's
any
not the
series.
first.
In any series, yeah, he was the first.
No, I swear to remember there was a GT1 accident there the very first time they went there.
Oh, really? How long?
Yes.
What year was that? 2010?
When the FIA GT1 World Championship went there. I seem to remember it was a Lamborghini that crashed into the tunnel.
Well, to be honest, I did it anyway on F1 2009, so it wouldn't have been the first of all time, but...
Well, if you count video games, everyone's done it.
Of course. There was one in a race that I was commentating on the other day, actually, in GPVWC. That was Tom Parker, but no one's heard of that series apart from me. So, and the people who
Would you like to mention the GPWVC again?
GPVWC? What?
Oh, damn, I knew I screwed it up.
GPWVC.
Well, I do technically work for their broadcasting teams now, so I do sort of owe them something. But free advertising. Here we go. There you go. Ended for the year, but next season's going to be a good one. Tune in.
Yes, but I feel we've gone far too off track now. Actually, no. Actually, our off trackness led us straight into what we were supposed to talk about. So well done, Rob.
Thank you. It's my absolute pleasure. It was the Formula 1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, sponsored by Etihad Airways.
It was the Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the Yas Marina circuit.
Yes. Do you want to know how much that
Whatever
circuit
it was,
cost
it
to
was
build?
highly uninteresting.
$1 billion.
1.322 billion US dollars.
Yep, it looks it.
You wonder if it was worth it, though, for the racing that we saw at the weekend. And I'd say no, because for all of that, they've built a place for rich people to hang out, and they haven't built a race circuit. And we didn't get a race.
That's because it's impossible to race there.
The Yas Marina circuit isn't awful. It's just awful for F1 cars, because the sports cars that race there, that race is pretty good.
Oh, sports cars race well anywhere. But...
Yeah, I know, but, I'm just being devil's advocate here.
Okay, well, it's rubbish.
But yes, but then again, it's sports car racing. It's proper motorsport. There's no crap.
Well,
That's
I would argue that F1 is definitely proper motorsport, but F1's still my favourite series.
I like it. It's just not my favorite. There's too much crap that goes on, and yeah, I can't agree with it half the time. So it's
Okay.
not my favorite.
Also, a pretty
And
dull
we'll get
track.
subpar coverage for next season. So yeah, more on my griping later.
Oh yes, quite a lot more on that griping, and some more griping, and a bit more griping on top of that, and some griping.
Yes, but let's get the dull race out of the way.
So
Yes, it was. Oh, good God, it was dull, wasn't it?
So Valtteri Bottas qualified on pole, and well, the end.
That was it. Yeah, the end.
Okay,
Well,
so
apart from
basically-
Daniel Ricciardo crashing.
Well, no, he didn't crash. It was.
Hydraulics fail.
He got a puncture and then he had a hydraulics failure.
I don't
The
think
two
he
not
actually did have a
entirely
puncture.
related, but
He said that the car felt weird. He didn't know if it was a puncture or not. If it was a hydraulic failure, the car feels weird anyway. So he probably just brought it in for precaution.
oh, but they showed it on the highlights that
Yeah, something did fall
he
off.
ran into the barriers.
No,
at
no,
the
he didn't.
exit
He didn't hit the
turn
wall.
20.
I think it was
looked
because
like
the
he
power
hit the wall.
steering may have started to go by then.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It looked like
he
it hit
had
the
the
wall.
hydraulic.
Something
Yeah,
fell off.
okay.
He didn't hit the wall. But whatever
Alright.
happened, there was some kind of failure, and he didn't finish the race. Nor did Carlos Sainz Jr., who had his wheel, well, not put on properly. And
No,
the
he just-
Renault team.
He had three
not-
wheels on his wagon, didn't he?
Yeah, well, the wheel had picked the fine time to leave him there,
yes.
leaving the tunnel. I'm surprised he got around the track as far as he did with
To
three
be honest,
wheels.
he did very, very well to keep it out of the barrier in the pits.
He went for about half the track length before he had a pull over.
Well, a couple of corners, but still, he did very, very well to keep it out of the barriers.
Yes.
I thought, I mean, when I saw the replay, I was shocked that he hadn't stuffed it into the wall, and many of the other drivers on the F1 grid would have done.
I'm shocked that the Renault team lost their brain twice in the same race, costing Hulkenberg more time with his penalty the first time, and then they completely did not even bother putting the tire on.
I remember a race a few years ago when the same thing happened to McLaren. So,
But
twice
nev-
in the same race is pretty
Yeah.
woeful.
yeah,
Well,
twice in the
nevertheless,
same race, but still.
Hulkenberg did get sick for Renault, which meant they overtook Toro Rosso in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, but
That is true.
was that ever in any doubt, really? A manufacturer team has to finish in front of a privateer, otherwise they're a pointless manufacturer.
I'll tell you what, though. If Carlos Sainz hadn't have moved to Renault and
They
Jolyon
wouldn't
Palmer
have
had
scored
stayed
any
there,
points.
they wouldn't have scored the same number of points that they did. And in fact, it's been worked out that if Palmer hadn't scored any points, then, which he probably wouldn't have done, then Renault would have still finished behind Toro Rosso. And let's face it, Carlos Sainz would probably have scored more points for Toro Rosso anyway. So, to be honest, Toro Rosso's downfall in
In
the season
fairness,
was
Carlos
letting.
Sainz Jr. scored more points in his few races for Renault than Jolyon Palmer did in 2 seasons.
That's entirely true.
Yeah.
But
So, you know.
yeah, really, it was just all about Carlos Sainz Jr. that battle, and if Toro Rosso hadn't lent Carlos to Renault,
They would have
then
finished in front of them,
They would have done,
which
yeah.
is quite funny, actually, yes.
But I suppose in business you have to do things like that sometimes, and it's just a shame for Renault
yes.
that that's the outcome, or for Toro Rosso.
Well,
rather,
not
that's-
really, actually. They're the only winners in this. They get Carlos Sainz Jr. next
No, they don't.
season.
I'm talking about Toro Rosso. They've lost Carlos Sainz Jr.
Oh, well, I still think they're going to be smelling like roses next year. I still suspect the Honda engine's probably going to come good.
Well, if it does,
the
that would be
law
very
of
ironic.
averages dictates that they're going to do well.
Yeah,
and
that-
for Brendan Hartley's sake, I hope they do well, because he's blown up already too many times.
Yes, Brendan Hartley hasn't really had a chance to shine yet. He did finish ahead of his teammate in the last race after his teammate had a spin.
That was the only race he got to finish in. Everyone else he crashed, he blew up out of.
Yeah, he well, to be honest, he really didn't impress me in qualifying at Yas Marina. Long way behind.
He didn't get to qualify because he had to take an engine penalty, so there was no point.
That's true. He
He
qualified a
literally
long way
did
down
half a
simply
lap
because
and
he
then
didn't
pulled it in because he was going to start last.
He didn't have any reason to go properly quickly, so
yeah.
he didn't. But
So he didn't.
well, we'll have to see
Yeah.
what he does next year.
I hope it's a good decision because he took an F1. I don't blame him for taking the F1 drive, but he took an F1 drive with a team that's going to have an unknown package next season with Hondas, and meanwhile, Ed Jones is going to get a nice cushy seat at Chip Ganassi Racing in a Honda that'll work and go well.
Oh yes.
Ironically enough, which is quite funny actually.
And after the race, they decided to announce the new
Well, actually,
logo.
hang on. Before you go there,
Oh.
I'm just gonna give you the rundown of the constructors' standings
Ooh,
because
yes,
we all know
please.
who won the drivers' standings. First on, where did it go? Oh no, the F1 side has crashed on me. Here we go. Where are the standings? Oh, they're giving me a picture instead of points. That's wonderful. And also quite stupid. Okay. Well, first in the constructors' standings is Mercedes, a Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1. Second was Scuderia Ferrari. Third was Red Bull Racing. Fourth was secured by Sahara Force India. Fifth was Williams in Williams Martini Racing with a car that really should have actually been behind the Renaults, but somehow weren't. Sixth, like we mentioned, was finally buttoned up with this Renault Sport F1. Seventh was Scuderia Toro Rosso. Eighth was Haas F1, who did a good job in their second season, scored more points than their first season, so they're on an upward trajectory.
Yeah.
Ninth was McLaren, again, and 10th and last was Sauber with 8 points. So no one finished pointless again this season, which is quite nice.
Yep, second time in 2 years and fourth time in history. I'd say that the team that impressed me most this year was Force India. In fact, both of their drivers have been thoroughly impressive, especially, well, actually both of them.
They would have been in with a better shot for third and for podiums had they had better control of their drivers, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, they came together twice, but
Where they didn't need to. But
that is true.
yes.
Although, I'll tell you what, both of the Force India drivers, I'm just quickly checking the stats so that I don't make any silly errors. Yeah, both of the Force India drivers would have come fourth in the Constructors' Championship if they'd been on their own, which I think is just fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite
Wow.
nice, actually.
Yep, that is some serious talent there from the pair of them.
Absolutely, serious
Keep
consistency.
in mind, Esteban Ocon had a finishing record of 27 straight Grand Prix that he finished in.
Yeah, until he got
before
taken out
last
of Brazil, and that wasn't
Yes.
even his fault. So Ocon has
No,
Ocon
it was
has yet to genuinely retire from a Grand Prix without being taken out by another driver. And Perez very rarely retires anyway. In fact, his only retirement this year was that in where was it? It was in Belgium when he retired.
Ran
after
into
the
his own teammate.
contact with his teammate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, apart from that, Force India has designed a very reliable car this year with help from the very reliable Mercedes engine, and they've just been thoroughly impressive. I mean, they've never actually dropped in the championship standings. So when they joined Formula 1, their first year, in their first year they finished 10th. Then they've gone 9th, 7th, 6th. Oh, they did drop once. So 6th, 7th, 6th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 4th. So they went down once, but ever since then they've either been on the same layer or better. And to be honest, that's just incredible. Like for 10 seasons of Formula 1 they've done now, to only do worse than the last year once takes a lot of potential from a team, and I can't wait to see what they can do in the future. Really,
How many points did I say Sauber had?
5.
Some.
Oh, yeah, they had 5. Yes.
Ooh.
Sauber had 5 points. McLaren had 30 points.
All
Haas
from
had
Pascal
47.
Wehrlein. I should point out they were all from Pascal Wehrlein, and for some reason Wehrlein might not have a seat for next year, which I think would be a big shame.
Because he's not as good as everyone else. That's why.
And he's a complete prima donna.
And he's a
better than
diva.
his teammate.
Yes. he's such a diva. Mercedes don't even want him anymore.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
From what I've heard, now I don't know him well, but from what I've heard, and I haven't seen many interviews with him either, but from what I've heard, as I've said, he doesn't have the best attitude. In fact, I've heard he's completely horrible, but he's a quick driver, so it would be a shame to see his talent go to waste, even if it is by his own fault.
Yes, he's a quick driver, I'll give you that. Evidenced by the fact that he won the DTM title in his rookie season at the age of 18. But he's just got a poor attitude that no manufacturer wants to deal with. Not even Mercedes. And they have to deal with years of petulant throwing toys out of pram attitude with both Rosberg and Hamilton. So, you know.
Yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't hire Hamilton. I mean, he's one of those...
I wouldn't pay him as much as he's asking, but I would hire him.
Of course.
That's just me.
He's one of those brilliant drivers that you'd never want to work with. I just don't like his attitude towards anything, really. But yeah, when it comes to Pascal Wehrlein, it is a shame to see talent go to waste, even if it is by his own fault. I'm not saying that it is because, again, I don't know him, and I haven't seen many interviews from him, but still, that's actually something that I'm coming on to in a minute as well, because we still have 3 seats open for the 2018 F1 season. Lance Stroll was confirmed for Williams.
3? What are you 3?
Yeah, so Lance Stroll was confirmed for Williams this week. Now we have 1 for Williams, so Stroll's teammate, and then the 2 Sabres.
I see what you're going with this. Okay, yes.
So the 2 Sabres still are not confirmed for next year, nor is the second Williams driver. Who do you think it's going to be? Because it's an interesting one in this case.
It's an interesting question.
Sergei Sorokin.
I'm going to say no.
No, he doesn't have a super license.
He does.
He does have an awful lot of... He also has quite a few rubles behind him too.
How does Sergei Sorokin have a super license?
Well, he came second in F2 last year, didn't he?
That doesn't guarantee you a super license.
Second in F2 last year, I think, may have been Alex Lynn.
No, Alex Lynn was miles off. It was...
Oh.
Actually, did...
I think it was Sorokin, but I don't think placing second gave you a super license.
Well, it certainly would this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has enough points to have one now,
at
that point he didn't have one.
It was Giovinazzi second, Sorokin third.
See, like I said, he wouldn't have enough. But,
yeah, and he's also got quite a bit of F1 testing mileage, I believe, as well.
That is
true.
He
should have enough to have one, but if I were going to place a bet on who would get the Williams seat alongside Lance Stroll, I would probably go with...
It's got 2 third
Kubica.
places.
Kubica. Now,
yes.
It's interesting that you should say that because
he's a heartwarming story, and he's a good news story for F1 and for Williams. And if anything, even if he doesn't do well, he'll still get press headlines for them.
Absolutely, and everyone is saying that Kubica will get the seat. I really don't know whether he will, because let's just remind ourselves.
Well, Williams did a evaluation with him in the 2014 car, and they said that he had no issues running the car all day long. So
yeah, well,
that was with a car with substantially less downforce.
Well, he also did testing in the current car at the Hungaroring.
He did, and actually that is more important and more vital. And he actually did very well in that. He was not far off the qualifying pace of either of his teammates, and with more testing and more mileage, who knows what he can do. I think that I don't know. It is a very interesting one because I would like it to be Kubica as much as the next person would, but I don't know if he will, because I mean the FIA is talking about assessing him again just to make sure that he's fit for it, and to be honest, I don't know if I'd go through that. If I was Williams, I don't know if I'd go through all of that hassle and all of that.
I'm sure the FIA can make a fuss, but if I'm FOM and Liberty Media, I would be looking at it going, well, he's a good news item, and we're going to do everything to make sure he gets in the car. And besides, you can adapt hand controls to suit Kubica to help him. So,
yeah, entirely. That's true. I'm not doubting that he could do a race, because we've seen from the testing that he can certainly do a long distance, whether that's a race or not. But
and
what I am doubting
I
is...
think further in his favor is that he has talent. And,
Absolutely.
The only other person they're evaluating is Paul di Resta, and
but Paul di Resta is bursting with talent as well.
Yes, but he's been out of an F1 car for as long as Kubica has.
No, he hasn't. He
Nearly as long as Kubica.
He did the
unless
Hungarian...
you count the Hungaroring,
Yeah, he
which
did the
Kubica
Hungarian.
also did.
But then again,
No, he did.
Di Resta
he did
done okay at Hungaroring, given that he literally jumped in the car, and the
Yeah.
first time he actually drove it was Q1.
He didn't just do the test. He did the Hungarian Grand Prix this year. He is an F1 driver this year, but
Messed up Sky's broadcasting plans as well, given that the bloke they were going to have commentate on the race got snapped up and hired
yes,
to
that's
drive
right,
in
he was
F1.
in the Hungaroring.
Yeah.
Kimi Räikkönen was thoroughly annoyed with him.
yes.
I remember now.
But let's face it, he got in a car that wasn't exactly supposed to be brilliant, and he didn't qualify last. And when you're called in Q1, and that's the first time you've turned a wheel in a 2017 F1 car, to stick it ahead of someone, whoever that might be, is incredible.
He was ahead of Stroll in qualifying, wasn't he?
No, it was Marcus Ericsson, but...
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, if he was ahead of Stroll, then I think that would have been a pretty damning indictment of Stroll.
If he had qualified ahead of Stroll, Stroll would have lost his seat for this year, and it would have been Kubica alongside Di Resta for next season.
Which would be a hell of a lineup if this was Fantasyland, though. Kubica and Di
Fantasy
Resta and Williams.
F1.
I think it would
Yes.
be, actually.
I think there was there's a game, I know this is going back some time, called Grand Prix Manager 2.
Yeah. I played it very
Oh.
briefly.
Cracking game. Cracking game.
Would that be your fantasy lineup in F1 and then Grand Prix Manager?
Oh, no.
Kubica and Di Resta.
I'd have to see how much what budget I had and how much the yearly wages.
You have Williams budgets. You don't get any top line drivers. You get the ones that are on the board.
Okay.
I remember...
I will say
Which are Robert Kubica, Paul Di Resta, Pascal Wehrlein, and
Some people are saying Daniel Kvyat,
Sorokin.
although I... Well, it's Sergei
Kvyat's
Sorokin.
not coming back to F1.
Yeah, some people
No,
are saying Daniel
Kvyat's-
Kvyat. I think that's very much just fantasy.
He's got no money.
Kvyat is probably going to end up doing in WEC driving
If
for
SMP
SMP,
Racing doesn't pick him up, he's not going to be racing anywhere because he has no money.
unless he can get a driving DTM, although that is kind of unlikely given the state DTM's in.
Well, Mercedes isn't going to employ them. They don't even want Pascal Wehrlein. And
Well,
he's a Mercedes driver.
Then again, when Di Resta left F1, he went straight back to Mercedes in DTM.
He's still a Mercedes DTM driver. Oh, by the way, yeah, Paul Di Resta is still a factory Mercedes driver.
Yes.
So maybe Williams take them for some half-engines. Half-price engines.
From what I've heard,
No,
though,
what
he's
you
not-
get is a discount card, which you just give to Toto Wolff.
From what I've heard, though, Di Resta's not as good in a DTM car as he is in a single-seater.
It's because DTM cars are disgusting cars, but there you go.
Yeah. I'll be quite interested to see how he does at Daytona.
Yes.
In the United Autosports Leisure. I think that's going to be quite...
Interestingly enough, did you know that Paul Di Resta was actually looked at by an IndyCar seat, by Ganassi?
Well,
Wait, Chip Ganassi was looking at getting Paul Di Resta driving...
This was when he was still driving an F1.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Crikey.
I only heard that recently because of Marshall Pruitt and his podcast with Mike Hull.
Good old Mike Hull, long-time member of the IndyCar and now sports car racing paddock.
But yes, that's how much talent Paul Di Resta has. Who's also the cousin to Dario Franchitti.
And
Yeah.
Marino Franchitti.
Ah, yes, Franchitti brothers. Marino, the bald genius who doesn't have a car or who doesn't have a ride either.
Sucks. Travesty, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we've managed to go a little bit off topic from the Grand Prix, which means we can now talk about the logo, can't we?
Aww.
We didn't go off topic from the Grand Prix. We're still talking
Actually, yeah,
about
fair
the Grand
point. We are
Prix
still
racing.
talking about the Grand Prix. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, my bad. My bad.
Damn it, Rob!
Yes, I know I had one job to do and I managed to make a complete and utter mess of it.
We moved on from the Grand Prix about 15 minutes ago, Rob. Anyway, so
Oh, did we? Oh.
Yes.
I never actually said who I'd hire if I was Williams. From what I've seen...
Yes, go on. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine, that's fine. From what I've seen, I would go for Paul di Resta, because we saw what he did at the Hungaroring. That was mightily impressive, and I wouldn't go through the uncertainty of Kubica. I know that Kubica's got talent. I mean, he's a Grand Prix race winner, of course, but I don't know if he's still got that talent or anywhere near as much talent. And from what I saw...
Lewis Hamilton has said that he'd rather like to see him back next season.
Oh, of course, everyone would.
If that's not a ringing endorsement of hiring someone.
Because the thing is that Kubica, Hamilton, Rosberg, Degrassi, Buemi, Fernando Reis is the golden generation.
Kubica was the one who won the one and only BMW Sauber race for them.
Yeah, at Canada in 2008.
At Canada, yes.
A year after...
The year after he crashed in a horrific fashion.
Yes. I actually found quite a funny story regarding Kubica when he was driving in Formula Renault and Fernando Reis was his teammate.
I watched him racing in Formula Renault. I went to Donington to see a round of it in 2005.
Oh, this was a few years before then. This was in 2.0.
Okay.
But yeah, Fernando Reis and Kubica were teammates, and Kubica was having troubles with his car and saying, no, it's not right, it's not right, it's not right, because he was one of the chosen drivers, shall we say, by Renault. And so he got Fernando to actually get in his car, and Fernando, straight away, actually went quicker than what Kubica did.
Oh, wow.
The fact that Fernando Reis didn't get an F1 drive is a travesty.
The fact that Fernando Reis still doesn't have a factory sports car ride is a travesty.
I know, it is an absolute... It's disgusting, frankly.
That's how it goes sometimes.
But, going back to Josh's reasoning, we keep cutting him off, and I feel really bad now.
Yes, awfully sorry, old chap.
I'm going to leave in a second. I thought I was going to have to because of my audacity anyway, but no. I'm just going to do it anyway. Anyway, back to... Yeah, so...
Now that he's done.
I would, I'd go for Paul di Resta because I wouldn't go through the unpredictability of Robert Kubica. But anyway, yeah, I would love to see Kubica back as much as the next person, as much as Lewis Hamilton, as much as anyone really. I just don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I suspect that it's probably going to happen, but I would suspect what ends up happening is Kubica gets the deal and Paul di Resta gets the reserve role in case Kubica doesn't work out.
I tell you what,
and it works for everyone that way.
Yeah, going back to your Grand Prix manager point earlier, I remember speaking to my mum. This must have been during the 2008 or 9 season, so I would have been 7 or 8. But
an infant.
I was going to say 2, 3.
I remember speaking to
just kidding.
Speaking to my mum about who we would hire if we did have a Grand Prix team, and I think I said something like Fernando Alonso and Robert Kubica. So.
Oh, that's a good lineup. Yes.
Oh, if those two were teammates.
Yeah.
That's that's a really strong lineup.
That's almost Prost Senna in 1988 levels of unstoppableness.
Actually, no, in fairness, Josh, which era of Alonso? The pre-Hamilton McLaren fighting Alonso, or the mellowed out, chill, looking to race anywhere Alonso that we have now?
Well, this would have been 2008 or 9, so pretty much.
Yeah, yes, but now that I've given you that question, which one would you take?
No, it's a different Alonso. It's the... Hey, Flavio, can you ask my teammate to crash Alonso?
Oh no, Alonso had no say in that.
I was joking, but he benefited from it, though.
He did benefit from it, but he had no say in it.
True, exactly. I was joking there.
But yeah, well, to be honest, I think I'd prefer him now because he's
that's my point. Yes, because he's leveled out. Yeah.
He's a lot more kind of. He'll just get on with it, and he's not so arrogant now. He used to be really, really arrogant. And yes, he still has the racing driver arrogance in him, but he's not over the top. He's not like a dog anymore, if that makes sense.
He's become a mature driver, yes. He's a driver at the end of his career, so he's leveled out.
He's become a grown-up.
But he's just as quick.
There you go.
He's learned how to adult.
Speed, yes.
But he's just as quick as he always was.
Yes, I would still pick him to be in any driver lineup. If it was me, I'd still pick him. He'd be at the top of my list for anything.
I'd say he's probably one of the top 5 greatest drivers of all time in anything.
He should be a 4-time world champion. He
Oh,
should
well,
be, but he isn't.
should be and is two very different things with Formula One.
I know, but, you know, if everything was fair and equal and fine, then he should be a 4-time world champion.
If it was fair and equal, it wouldn't be
That's
Formula
how good
One. To
he
be
is.
honest, I'm sort of glad it's not fair and equal.
I was just making a hypothetical.
Yeah, I get the picture, but
yes, if everything was, if he didn't make crap career decisions and go off on a whim because he was an emotional train wreck, he would have 4 titles to his name.
yes, he would. But
Probably
that could
2
be
of
said
those
about
coming with Ferrari.
that could be said about a lot of drivers. But yeah,
Yes.
to be honest, to be a world champion, you only really need to be faster than one person, and that's your teammate. And if you get the right car and you're faster than your teammate, you're world champion.
Well, there's a double world champion in F1 right now who isn't an F1 world champion.
Brendan Hartley?
Yes, who was recently having to relearn how to be selfish.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, which is rather difficult thing to do, having been a sports car driver for so long now.
Yeah, I was going to say, he must be having a nightmare of a time.
He's like, oh, I don't have to share with anyone. But what does Gasly think? Oh, he's not sharing your car. Oh, he's not sharing my car. Oh, that's well, I gotta be selfish now.
Yeah. Oh dear. But
He probably walks over to Gasly's garage and sits in his car going, oh, these settings are all wrong. I'll never fit in this car.
no, it's because it's got Gasly's seat in it.
Yeah, I know, and he's thinking, oh,
No, it's-
right, this isn't my car. Yeah.
It's still got Carlos Sainz's seat in it, probably.
The way Toro Rosso's all screwed up. Yes,
Because of the
probably still
unpredictability
has
of the change.
everything.
But, I mean, yeah.
Probably still stuff with Kvyat's name over it.
Probably still slightly damp from Kvyat's tears from where he got absolutely done over. Massively.
No, that's an older car. That's fine.
Oh, that's last year's car, is it?
Yeah, this is a brand new
Oh,
car.
right. Okay.
All the tears are wiped out. It's fine.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's nice to know. Nice to know. Yes. I think I read something earlier today that apparently they want to actually. There have been discussions, namely after Hamilton, I think, mentioned this in the green room after the race to make a change to the Yas Marina circuit to potentially help with overtaking.
Yeah, to change the track somehow. I'm just thinking, well, how are you going to change the track? It's already built.
Yes, they.
Well,
A
you can
lot of
change
people
a track.
said that the track was very boring, and Herman Tilke told Ted Kravitz on Sky F1, we have an idea to change one corner. I'm quoting this here. It's a very small change, but maybe it has a lot of impacts for overtaking. We are in discussion. End quote.
But, Herman Tilke trying to edit his own track. That means it's going to be ending up worse than the original was.
Oh no, Tilke designed the
Yeah.
Circuit of the Americas. He's not always
No,
boring.
no, Josh. I will argue this point. He helped make the Circuit of the Americas. He didn't actually pen it.
Oh, wasn't it penned by a 6-year-old or something like that?
It was drawn by
Kevin Schwantz.
Yes, and Tavo Hellman.
Yes.
Tilke only helped.
Tilke literally designed the buildings and made sure that all the actual buildings and
He did the
stuff would
circuit
work.
bits on it, but everything else was designed by someone else.
Have you seen the pencil sketch of it? They'd actually put Eau Rouge as the first corner.
At Circuit of the Americas, that would have been brilliant.
Well, no, I would have said they were just trying to copy other tracks, and I wouldn't have liked that. But
Well, that's what they were doing
I
anyway.
still like Circuit of the Americas. Both of you be quiet.
Oh,
It's
they
just
were
mismanaged by
they were
morons.
They were trying to imitate other tracks with a lot of the corners. It was supposed to basically be like an ultimate track, but
Yeah, but that's
Rouge-
what we do anyway in our minds. We
Yeah.
go, oh, I'll
Yeah.
take that bit and put it there, and that bit I'll put it there, and it'll be like, oh, that'll be brilliant. So,
Eau
you know,
Rouge
why not?
just doesn't work anywhere but Spa, really. Eau Rouge is Spa, and if you put it anywhere, it becomes less special.
Well,
really.
it won't be Eau Rouge. It'll be Eau Rouge-esque, obviously.
Well, yes, but yeah.
You'd have to literally make a hill the size of a mountain for an N or two even copy it anyway.
Oh, turn 1 is tighter. I mean, it's high enough for a. I suppose you need to make it level out at just the right point as well, don't you? I mean,
Yes, exactly.
Eau Rouge is 1 in a million, really, but
Although I suppose if you ran the track backwards, you would almost have an Eau Rouge, just tilted to the other side.
where would that be?
Turn 1 at Circuit of the Americas.
I suppose it would be nowhere near as fast.
No, but it would be near it in terms of elevation drop and all that. Because you'd be running it backwards and the opposite direction.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but
it was just a thought, Josh. Don't bite my head off over it.
Okay.
Rob, you've gone rather quiet. Where have you gone?
Yes, I was just reading something on Racer.com about the 1983 Ford Mustang GTP.
Oh, dear.
Tell us about the 1983 Ford Mustang GTP.
No, this is going off track. You can save it for later.
It had wheels and an engine. It was a car.
And bodywork, and was a car. And there was a documentary on it, yes.
Yes, that's what I was about to mention, the documentary. But yes, there was also an F1 logo that came out at the weekend.
It's really boring.
ESPN.
I mean,
yes, ESPN.
The old one, like you can see the kind of one between the F and the 1, and it's all really clever and so forth. This one has nothing special about it. It's just like it's like they designed it in 5 minutes.
There's a reason
ESPN.
why. It's ESPN. Sean Bratches, the commercial director, used to work for ESPN. ESPN now have the broadcast rights in the US. Definite boo. And bless you.
Thank you.
And it was actually designed by the same people who, funnily enough, designed the logo for some TV channel in the US called
ESPN.
Oh, sorry, ESPN. That's the one. Yes, it's rubbish. It's been universally derided, and
they
quite frankly,
have
I
some
don't
sort
like
of
it.
design out brief by Whedon and Kennedy London, saying some sanctimonious bullshit about how it's clever, but
it isn't.
it isn't. But
Yes,
whatever. Welcome to the American ownership of F1. Aren't you all enjoying it?
Oh, the F1 ownership.
I know I'm not.
The American ownership so far has been very good, I've seen, but
they've screwed over their own audience.
No.
Yes, by getting rid of one of the world's finest commentary teams
and their finest commentary crew,
of Matchett,
and getting rid of a logo
Buxton,
that no one complained
Lee
about.
Diffie, David Hobbs.
I don't see that side, of course, because I'm in the UK and not America. But
we are getting we are getting a subpar TV package next season for something that the ESPN isn't even paying any rights fees for. They've been handed it to them for free by Sean Bratches because NBC got angry that they were doing a digital platform for the F1 coverage.
Oh, but it's all going to be digital in the future anyway. I mean,
yes, but they didn't even tell NBC that they were doing this. That's why NBC said we're not carrying it for next season, and the rights just transferred for free to ESPN.
I must say, the showy
who aren't doing a pre-race coverage for us, and aren't doing a post-race show, and we'll have no dedicated commentary team in the US, and we won't even get the US or the Sky F1 coverage, or the other Radio 5 team to broadcast it. It'll be some generic broadcast team sitting in London giving us generic
Channel
commentary.
4, I think. So you actually get David Coulthard.
It has nothing to do with either one of your. It's going to be a standalone commentary team that isn't Sky coverage.
Because we have
or radio coverage.
Commentary teams in the UK.
Where do I stand? Where do I sign up?
We'll get some generic coverage from London that has no idea what we want to hear. It's
it'll just
absolute
be
garbage.
Hamilton, 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 some other bloke, Hamilton, Hamilton, Hamilton. Oh, someone's crashed. Hamilton, 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 Hamilton.
We probably won't even.
End.
We won't even get. Probably won't even get all the sessions covered. We'll probably only get
qualifying in the race.
Some practice sessions. We'll probably only get qualifying and the race, and we won't get pre-race, and we won't get post-race.
We won't have the same
quality of. We won't have the same quality of coverage that we have now with NBC.
It's
because we have Lee Diffie, we have Steve Matchett, and we have David Hobbs, and the excellent Will Buxton at the pit lane.
And Sean Kelly.
We didn't get practice sessions.
Sean Kelly, the stats person.
Oh, the stat man, yeah. We didn't get...
Oh, I did not know Sean Kelly. Well, we get practice, but we only usually get free practice too.
We didn't get practice until
FP3 or
2013.
Well, I could give or take practice. It's fine, but I just want the standard coverage we have now. It's an inferior. I wouldn't mind if it was a product that was bid on and someone won it because they offered a better package. That's what we all want. We're getting next year an inferior package because they want to do their own thing with their product, which is their right, but they didn't tell anyone about it. So now we have this half-baked, awful coverage for next season. I'm really not looking forward to next season's coverage.
Neither am I. Although I must say, the way NBCSN actually ended with everyone doing the shoey.
Yes, was really, really...
Oh, gosh.
Actually brought a tear to my eye, actually, in fairness. It was very sad.
Yes, and it's annoying that one of the global standard bearers for F1 coverage has had to go in that fashion, which is, well, wrong.
Lee Diffie will land on his feet. He has IndyCar. He's fine. We'll still get to hear his commentary, which, by the way, isn't the most awful commentary I've ever heard. So everyone who has a thing about Lee Diffie needs to shut up because he's quite good.
He's Australian. That's why. They can't understand
his crime. Actually, the crime of Lee Diffie is that he's not Bob Varsha. That's the crime.
Yeah, and then again,
that's why people don't like him.
I think that's because there is only one Bob Varsha.
Yes, and that's also a crime that Bob Varsha isn't on anything on TV. But
he's
that's
on
a
Formula
different
E.
story.
He has done Formula E a few times.
Very
on the global.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he is with the FE next. Has been this past season. Hope
Yes.
he is for next season.
Same here.
Yeah, but Bob Varsha's gonna do stuff. Lee Diffie's fine. Steve Matchett more or less still works with ESPN with NBC, and the only one I feel sorry for is David Hobbs,
Yeah.
who rather sadly had to sign off his 41 years in broadcasting on a really undeserved fashion because we didn't get to celebrate his years of commentating everything from NASCAR, sports cars, F1, IndyCar, pretty much anything really.
Yeah.
For 41 years. And it's rather sad he went out on a rather unsanctimonious note that really was unbecoming of his broadcasting.
Not a very exciting race to have your last commentary on.
No, that's also a crying shame. I really hope he's on some IndyCar coverage so that way he can go out with a bang, really. Because he deserves it.
I'm going to follow IndyCar next year. Seems brilliant.
Everyone deserves to watch IndyCar. It's just amazing.
If you want to see people actually, racing.
And with awesome looking cars. Yeah.
Oh god, especially next year.
I don't like this IndyCar compared to the other ones, but never mind. That's just me coming from a Formula 1 background. So.
I see where you're coming from. I think all F1 cars actually should look like 2008, 2007 cars, but that's just me.
That was the best looking era of F1.
That was the era that we should all strive to go back to in F1, but
No, never go back. If you're going to do something different, do it differently.
Well, I said the wrong. I don't mean back, but you know what I mean, like in terms of looking how the cars look or whatever.
Yeah, I want to keep it
we're
going
already
forwards,
bringing
but
back. We're
but
bringing
keep it going.
stupidly huge tires back, so why not?
Oh, I love the massive tires. They're great. Yeah.
I think the rim sizes need to be upgraded. Those things look like donuts.
I have one thing that I like to say about F1. It should be the pinnacle of motorsport, and therefore it should be the fastest it can possibly be, and it should be the fastest series in the world. Therefore, I don't really care what the cars are like or what the racing's like or anything like that, so long as over one lap the cars are the fastest they've ever been.
Well, then you must be extremely happy with the 2017 regulations, then.
Right, back to the podcast. What
Yes,
about
back to the podcast. Right, we've talked about F1. Oh god, what else is there?
Josh was on a point before he cut off. What was your point?
What? I was saying something. I was saying that I don't really care what F1 is like, so long as it's faster than the year before, and that is why I think that F1 2017 has been the best year of Formula One since 2008. Yeah, honestly, it's just been. I mean, and I love the racing this year too. Many people have been saying, "Oh, but it's rubbish. There's no overtaking." What they see as overtaking is what we got.
I actually have a solution to that, and that is to just follow the IndyCar model. Just take some downforce from the top side of the cars to the underside of the cars, and you can have better passing.
Exactly.
And you'll have the same amount of downforce.
People have been saying that for years, and yet no one in the powers that be in F1 has actually listened.
F1 is ruled by morons. That's why. But seriously, all they have to do is put an underwing on the bottom of the F1 car, and they'll have the same amount of downforce, but they'll have less turbulent air to hit the front of a following car and can pass.
I do
you
agree
could still
with
have
that.
the same massive tires on it, the same amount of downforce, and everything. And plus, there's an added benefit, and you could get rid of the god-awful T-wing on the top of the car.
I do agree with
get
that.
rid of it with a hacksaw.
What I disagree with is when they do say that we should have as much overtaking as in 2016 and so forth. What we had in 2016 was several cars overtaking by basically just pressing a button rather.
Welcome to 2020 with the push to pass.
Oh, that was 2021.
Whatever.
Yes.
Either way, it's still push to pass.
Future F1, where they're like, "Ooh, we could have passing with curves." That's push to pass.
Well, we did have the KERS. So.
Yes, but it was basically
now
a
we've
glorified push to pass like IndyCar runs.
We've all lost KERS now in F1.
But the thing with
Pretty
2016, the thing with 2016 F1 passing though was that it was very much just press a button and you're through. The drivers got lazy really. They didn't bother doing it in the corners because they knew they didn't need to because they could just fly past everyone else on the straight, and therefore, well, there was just no racing really. It was all.
I think DRS is a complete waste of everyone's time and should be outlawed.
Oh, pass
certainly.
flaps.
Oh, certainly.
Pass flaps.
Pass flaps.
I'm more.
That's that's a
more
Midweek Motorsport
diplomatic.
reference, Josh.
I'm more diplomatic about calling it DRS because pass flaps just makes me laugh uncontrollably. See, it's already done it.
Yep, there we go. 20 points, right. Next topic. I have some news for the WEC.
Oh, we should have done that earlier. What is it?
In today from Sports Car 365, Toyota poised for driver shake-up.
Is it Jose Maria Lopez?
He's one of them.
Oh, one? Who's the others?
Guess. There's one more. Guess.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know. Who's the other worst driver in the lineup?
Is this who they're getting rid of?
Yeah.
Allegedly. But yeah, guess the second
Well,
driver.
if it's coming from Sports Car 365, it's a huge allegedly. Yes.
Yes, it is definitely on the.
Possibly. Well, Jose Maria Lopez is going. If I was Toyota, but if I was going to put my sensible hat on, who would I remove from the lineup, even though that's already a strong lineup? Actually, I wouldn't take anyone else other than Jose Maria Lopez and put in Ryo Hirakawa.
The second driver in question is Anthony Davidson.
For some reason the name.
That's
Anthony,
actually really okay.
the name Anthony
With
Davidson
who?
was going
Alonso?
through my head then.
Yes, because Alonso is actually available for practically the entire Super season, barring Fuji.
I thought it was Coda.
It's Fuji, I thought.
Oh well, it's Fuji, but F1's at Coda. Yes, I've answered my own question.
Yeah. But
What? What?
probably end up with Hirakawa-san in one car.
No,
'Cause actually,
I wouldn't choose Hamilton, Anthony Davidson over, or Alonso over Anthony Davidson. No, that's
Because
really not sure about that one.
Because I was wondering if they did put Hirakawa-san into the full season LMP1 lineup, whether they do something similar to what they...
He never drove the car, but he should take Jose Maria Lopez's spot.
I was just going to say, because if they did do that and Hirakawa-san was promoted to the full season of WEC and LMP1. Do you want to know what I was thinking Toyota could do?
Run a third car.
No, something similar to what they done in the late 1990s with the TS020, because they had a
You want them to bring out an old car.
Oh, yeah. No, because they had a
Give it to a
driver
customer.
lineup which featured only Japanese drivers. So for 1999, they had Ukio Katayama, who was in the
He's
car
never
at the
done anything in
time.
his life.
He was in the car at the time when the tyre went, with an hour to go.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And
yeah.
alongside him was Toshio Suzuki and a certain Mr. Dori.
Dory.
Dory. Okay.
I'd never heard
Yeah,
of him.
Kaiichi Tsuchiya.
Why have I heard his name before? What has
I'd
he
never heard of
done?
him.
World Time Attack Challenge, Hot Version, Super
That'll
GT,
do
Best
it.
Motor
Yep.
International,
that'll do
Super
it.
GT, that video which he done in his Toyota GT86.
So a lineup basically that has done nothing at all ever. No.
Ukio
Yeah.
Katayama did F1.
It was called Sarcasm.
Oh, I don't get sarcasm.
In fact, the lineup the previous year was actually Katayama, Suzuki, and Tsuchiya, and actually the following year, the three of them teamed up in a Panos LMP1 car and came 6th overall.
I don't mean to rush you, Rob, but is this coming up to a point?
Yes, I was just saying that if Toyota did decide to run Hirakawa-san, Kobayashi-san, and Nakajima-san in the same car, then that's what it could bring back memories of. In fact, Nissan done a similar thing in '98 with Suzuki, Hoshino, and Kageyama.
That doesn't alleviate the problem of which you just brought up, which is the current really strong lineup of Mike Conway, Anthony Davidson, Sebastian Buemi, and Kazuki Nakajima.
And Komui Kobayashi.
Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, and Kamui Kobayashi. Those are the current drivers, minus Jose Maria Lopez, who really should be gone and back into touring cars, because that's where he belongs.
I was speaking to someone the other day, a friend of mine from the GPVWC, bringing it up again, who was
Swear jar at this
Who
point.
apparently-
Every time you say it's a pound.
who apparently was racing iRacing the other day against Jose Maria Lopez, and apparently got
Crashed
rear-ended by
into
him.
him.
So
Perfect. Just perfect.
so yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh dear, that was actually
You
quite
see, but that
brilliant.
doesn't solve anything. So, Anthony Davidson at the expense of Alonso. I mean, Alonso at the expense of Anthony Davidson. That's not on in my opinion, but whatever. Moving on to the more pressing issues, which is the 2017-18 FI Formula E Championship.
Yes.
Yay! Starts this weekend in Hong Kong.
Yes. And there have been some changes to the upcoming season.
Yes,
In the fact that-
notably.
This year, notably, there will be one car.
That's next
That's next season.
No.
season.
Is it? I thought it was
Yes.
this season.
It's
Isn't that why
next
Audi
season.
joined? I thought that's why they joined.
That's next season.
Ah, fair enough. I got it wrong. I
It's-
always get them wrong in my head.
It's I know one of the rule changes.
It's qualifying.
Yes, qualifying, and they've changed the rules on that slightly, and
gonna
also
be more
now
power.
you can only. Yep, and also you can only be eligible for fastest lap if you're actually finishing the top 10 of the race.
Yes. Now that's good, because I didn't like drivers taking themselves out in
They
incidents
finally had enough
or being involved in
Yes.
incidents and then just running around at the back trying to set laps. We had a championship decided that way in 2016, which did make
I actually thought that was quite funny.
it did
It was.
it did make for an absolutely unbelievable race, and one that I've never seen the likes of before.
It turned the race into a race to look at the instead of looking at the race at
Yeah.
the front of the field, you were looking at timing and scoring, going, oh, he's at the quickest lap. Oh no, he's at the quickest lap.
But it wasn't a race, was it? I like to see the championships decided in races.
Well, now you will. Yes.
So
Qualifying is changed with championship positions determining qualifying groups instead of the lottery system.
yes.
Um,
Now that's going to be good for
the only time the lottery system is used is for Hong Kong this weekend because there's new drivers, and obviously it's the first round of the championship. A mini lottery, I say that in quotes because that's how it's written, will then determine the order of the 4 groups in each qualifying session, with a draw provisionally to take place during the drivers' briefing each weekend. The final top 5 shootout will remain unchanged, with the 5 quickest drivers from the group sessions going through to the final 1-lap Super Pole session to set the front end of the grid. And it's understood that similar level competitors will be put together in qualifying groups in the event of weather and other variables impacting the grid. And all the drivers have said that these changes are fine.
To be honest, I did find last season of Formula E quite... It wasn't boring, but it was very kind of raw. It was not like...
Formula E, you mean?
It had no real flavour. It was...
Well, it's Formula E, so...
It was very kind of... Yeah, I mean, it was almost like it was predictable, really, although it wasn't. But it was...
Formula E is predictable, because it's always between Renault and Audi Sport.
Well,
and to Cheetah and
up
Mahindra.
until this point, Audi Sport.
Yeah, but... It's always Buemi, and behind him comes the battle. But... It just didn't feel right, really. I think it's because the cars are so slow. I mean, they are the slowest racing cars.
Apparently, for next season, they're going to be quicker. Finally.
Well, yeah, but not
to the speeds that they should be.
Not much quicker. Really, not much quicker.
Yeah, but I don't understand what the holdup is. If Tesla can make a 250-mile-an-hour road car, then there's no reason why Formula E can't make a race car that can manage to at least do 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's just... It hasn't got the spectacle of some other racing series, and I think that's why people aren't watching it. You know, one of the questions that I was asked by John Hindhaugh when I met him at Brands Hatch earlier this year was...
Do you watch Formula E?
No, he said, why isn't anyone watching Formula E?
It's because the tracks are awful, for
That
one
is
thing.
one of the reasons, that's one of the things that I said. I also kind of said, it's because they're not taking themselves seriously enough, so they're kind of showing off the technology without ever really developing anything, and
it's simply a marketing exercise. It is, basically.
They're not doing enough to actually race. Really, it's the cars just aren't good enough.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I actually think that Formula E is the wrong direction. I actually think that Formula E should be what electric GT is, and they should actually be road cars instead of open wheel cars.
They're sorting that out. They've got a Jaguar I-Pace reserve, support category.
Trophy thing, yes, but that's not what it... I think initially from the start, Formula E should have been actual cars, not some open wheel cars, but that's just
it's because open wheel cars are more popular, isn't it?
They're sexier and all that, but if it's truly a marketing exercise, which it is, then surely it should just be an actual car. But then I guess that would kind of defeat the purpose of sports cars, so I guess it's kind of a good thing that Formula E isn't road cars.
I was speaking to one of my teachers earlier, actually, about Robo Race, which is a Formula E support category very soon. I think it's...
I actually am really excited about Robo
I think it's
Race,
a very...
But I guess I'm one of the only
It's a very
few.
interesting concept. I can't see how they'd actually race. The thing with racing with drivers is you have all sorts of racecraft and rules that aren't written, and you can't really write in coding because they change every time. It's like... It's you don't get the unpredictability from an AI. I don't think...
Well, if they're anything like racing game AIs, they're bound to crash into one another.
Well, did you see the showcase they did at the Buenos Aires E-Prix where they got 2 and pitched them against each other? One of them crashed, and it was a really, really silly crash too. Have you seen the onboard? I mean, it was just...
That's hilarious,
it was
actually.
driving right next to a concrete wall, and then it suddenly decided, I should be in that, and it just turned, and you think, yeah, that was not a good showcase of autonomous vehicles.
That's hilarious, though.
Autonomous technology will put you in a wall. at some point. Even if you don't want to go into a wall, you will be meeting the wall.
I actually think it'll be quite funny and it'll be quite entertaining because I still have the idea that, or the mentality that initially the AIs will behave like every racing game. They'll be brilliant until they decide to crash into something.
No. The AIs will just act like people do on an open lobby on any of the Codemasters F1
Can you imagine
games.
if
They'll just go brakes. Nah, what are brakes? And then probably go bang straight into everyone. A bit like Kevin Magnussen has seemingly been doing pretty much all season.
Can you imagine?
Ooh.
I had to say that. I'm sorry.
Well, he doesn't exactly smash into several people, just one person at a time. But anyway,
Oh, it's more than enough, trust me. Those damage bills.
but
God, dear, poor old Gene Haas. I do feel for him. Must be tearing his hair out, the poor bloke.
No, he's used to paying expensive bills. He runs a NASCAR team.
Actually, yeah, fair point. Well made, beautifully presented.
Anyway,
but
going back to his points.
As I was going to say, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yes. Can you imagine if they put the AIs in like online lobbies to learn from
Oh, I thought you were going to say if they're going to put them in cage matches.
No.
What a giant hexagonal MMA UFC style cage.
Yes,
And just
brilliant.
fight it out till something or someone breaks.
I mean,
Sounds promising. What's wrong with that?
Actually, you could probably do that at the end of a NASCAR race. Actually, it's probably
Be a damn sight better than their fighting they do already.
I mean, but can you imagine if they put them in like open lobbies so that they could learn about racing week long? They turn up to the race events with names like XX Twit Slayer 25, and then they
no XXX no scoper 666 no scoper
and then they
XXX
completely
or something stupid
and then they completely
like that.
cut the first chicane and call it skill. That's
No,
what they do.
No. What they do is they just go, or they just use like the Microsoft Xbox default, which is 2 random words and then a random number.
Yep.
Hey, that works for me. That's mine.
Same here. That's mine. I just simply haven't been bothered to
I was
change
deafening
it.
octopus.
Actually, in fairness, mine actually wasn't random. I named myself.
Me too.
But yeah, moving past that point.
I didn't.
I wasn't expecting to talk about Robo Race so soon, particularly since it's not even a
Oh,
thing
it's
yet.
it's
Yes.
very much a thing.
Um,
It's just not a very good thing yet.
Well, not on track yet. It's a thing per se, but you
Yeah.
know what I mean, Mr. Pedantic. Yes, but moving to preview the upcoming season.
Yes.
I shall bring up my rather excellently written notes.
I have the driver list
Ooh.
in front of me.
Ew, yes. Well, I was going to start with Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler,
Ja, das
defending
ist
champions.
das ist Audi e-tron FEO4.
For those who don't speak
1, 2,
German, it's
3,
the Audi e-tron FEO4.
roughly.
Well, that's what it is in English,
yeah,
but
true.
yes. This is the first year as a full season. This is the first season as a full manufacturer Audi Sport effort, which sees the car actually entirely branded as an Audi, with the number 1 of Lucas de Grassi and the number 66 of Daniel Abt, who is a newly named factory driver for Audi.
Yes, and they have some Scottish bloke calling the shots on the pit wall called Alan.
Oh yes, one Mr. McNish.
Yes.
One Mr. Alan McNish, who's never done anything in motorsport, really. He's a woeful man. He's never done anything in his life.
I seem to recall he did actually go straight for a crash barrier at Suzuka once.
Yes, that's
And actually
And then at Le
and
Mans.
split a Toyota in half in the process. Yes.
yeah, and then shattered into a million pieces at Le Mans. Yes. But
Yes.
Other than that, what has this man ever done?
Joking aside, one of the all-time great sports car racers of this generation.
Yes. They are also the first German manufacturer to enter Formula E.
Officially.
Audi, officially, yes. Because Mercedes and Porsche haven't done so yet.
And Andretti are still Andretti.
And BMW hasn't either.
Yes.
But for this season, they have an all-new powertrain. They've going to a single-gear transmission, and they have a new MGU for their to improve acceleration, and they have a new carbon fiber powertrain housing, which means the car is slightly slimmer, I think, from the pictures I've seen.
And lighter, I think, as well.
Yes. Well, everything's new. Like I said, carbon powertrain housing.
I mean, given that any one of the drivers in Formula E could probably win a race on any given weekend, it's going to be quite interesting because we can't really say for certain just how well everyone's going to do.
I argue Daniel Abt is not a top caliber driver yet, because he hasn't won anything yet.
No, whereas Mr. Degrassi has won a load of WEC races.
Didn't Daniel Abt win a race in GP2?
WEC title.
Yes, Degrassi did win an awful lot in GP2 as well.
When did Daniel Abt win in GP2?
No, I said Degrassi.
No, I said Daniel Abt did. Did he?
I know, but when did Daniel Abt compete
he competed
in
in it
GP2?
straight
Hold
right back
on.
in the. Oh, here we go. GP.
Oh, here we go. I've got it up
2013
here.
and
Load,
14.
please. Yes, he did.
He did not win a race. In fact, he didn't even get a podium in GP2. Never mind.
No, he got a best
there
result
you go,
of
being Daniel Abt.
He got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 fifth-place finishes.
Oh, there you go. See, told you, being Daniel Abt, rather average all the time.
1-2 GP3 races.
Snap.
That's GP3 though.
That was in 2012. Let's see who he was up against. Oh, okay. We'll give him some credit. Connor Daly was. And
He
Mitch
beat
Evans were
Antonio
racing
Felix
that
da
year.
Costa. He beat
He
Connor
beat Carmen
Daly.
Jorda. He beat Alex Brundle.
Did you just tout Carmen Jorda as someone he
Well,
beat?
hasn't everyone beaten?
Well, she was racing in GP3 that year.
Everyone beat her.
Marlon,
That's not an accomplishment.
Marlon Stockinger, Theo Eleanor.
I saw Theo Elenas winning at Silverstone the other year in Formula Renault 3.5.
Yeah.
I have no idea
Tamas
who he
Powell
even
Kiss,
is.
I
Powell
recognise
Kiss.
that name.
Keith Powell, it should be actually.
Oh, alright then.
Anyway, moving past your garbage GP3 drivers.
Yes, in fairness, it wasn't exactly a strong year for the category, if we're being honest.
It's never a strong year for GP3. It's
George
GP3.
Russell's up and coming.
Yeah. But 2012 really was a pretty poor year
When
in
did
terms of
Botas
driving.
win
2011.
GP3? Oh, there you go, you see?
Yes. Anyway, should we move on to DS Virgin or
Yes, I was going to bring up DS Virgin
Yes.
Racing.
the DS
English-
Virgin?
DS Virgin Racing, the English
Yes.
team, the Anglo-French team for the final season it's appearing in Formula E.
Before it becomes Citroen, I think, or DS Virgin or something, I don't know.
No, before it just, well, I'll get to that eventually.
Alright.
DS Virgin Racing, which is fielding the DS Virgin DSV03 of the all-English lineup of Sam Bird in the number 2 and the number 36 of newly signed Aston Martin Racing Factory driver Alex Lynn.
Good. Well, Alex Lynn did do 2 races at.
New York.
He was the
And he
reserve
did do
driver
2
for last
races.
season, yes.
And he done very well in those 2
yes.
races, as did Sam Bird.
Well, Sam Bird is the perennial Englishman in the English team, winning a race in every season, I seem to remember so far.
Yes, indeed, sir.
But yes, this year's car for them is a primarily on software enhancements, and they stick with their 3-speed gearbox. And apparently, according to their press release, it's the first all-British driver pairing in Formula E. That's what they say. I'm just saying what they say. But the likely part, like I said, I mentioned earlier, the likely last part of their French connection with DS is that the rumors keep circulating. They will lose their technical partnership with them to Cheetah for 2018-19. Indeed, yes.
I'm a bit surprised by that, given that Cheetah used the Renault powertrain, and the Renault powertrain is
Well, Renault
rather
is going
good.
away at the end of this season, so...
Yes, replaced by Nissan.
Yes.
Which means we might actually have
More
Sebastian
on that
Buemi.
later.
Sebastian Buemi at Nismo Fest. Cool, that'd be a fun one.
I highly suspect Sebastian Buemi isn't going to be in EDAMS, but
Yeah,
that's if
never
they
mind.
continue. But more on that
Yes.
later. we'll go on to the rather dismal failure so far, that is Panasonic Jaguar Racing.
Oh, come on, they've only had one blooming season.
Rather dismal Jaguar Panasonic
But everyone
Racing.
else is.
It was their first season, they had to learn. Let's give them
I
that.
will not
But
back
everyone
down,
else
Rob.
has
I will
had
not
one-
back down.
Back down now, boy!
I will not back down.
But everyone
they are
else
a
who's
dismal
had
failure.
one blooming season in Formula E's done quite well, averagely really. So, and Jaguar hasn't.
Yes.
So.
Well, they did have to try and...
They
learn
weren't
stuff.
average. They were a manufacturer team who need to be doing better because they have manufacturer money. So, in my opinion, they're doing rather awfully for the first season.
They've kept Mitch Evans, which I
Yeah, not
approve
bad.
of.
Their car this year is the Jaguar I-Type, Type 2.
Yes.
The I-Type, which really should be the E-Type.
Well,
but
they've
whatever.
already got an E-Type, and to be honest, it was much better.
I know, it's just a joke.
But that was an awfully long time ago. That was probably a bit before our lifetimes put
I
together.
think it might have been, you know.
Does the I stand for intelligence? I wonder.
Hmm.
I don't know, just a random thought. Their drivers this year are the number 3 of one Nelson Piquet Jr., the
Champion.
Inaugural Formula E champion, and
Yes.
the number 20 of Mitch Evans returning again,
Yes.
the New Zealander. The only thing that is the constant at this team,
Yes,
because
they got rid
everyone
of
else
Adam
has
Carroll.
left. They've gotten rid of Adam Carroll. Their team manager has left, with his responsibilities spread across the whole team. The former engineer at Scuderia Toro Rosso and Renault, Phil Charles, becomes technical manager, who will report to John Russell, who is their principal vehicle engineer. Their performance engineer stays, whatever he does.
Do
Their
they need
head
a...
of powertrain stays.
God. The amount of engineers they got, do they have a cup of tea engineer? To engineer
You
the
would
perfect
think with the
cup
amount of
tea?
engineers they have, they would actually be rather good. But no,
Yeah.
apparently.
Ah, right.
That's my point about the team, Rob, is that they have more money than God, and they still can't get anything to work.
It's a bit like when Jaguar were in
It's
Formula
not like
One.
they have crap. It's not like they have crap. There you go. See, they don't belong in single seaters. They need
No.
to be sports car racing.
Go to sports cars. Come back home, Jaguar, please.
Yes, come hear the siren songs of the sports car.
Yes.
They're
And
calling
that
out to
7-litre
you.
V12 sound in the background.
Well, that is the siren song of Jaguar.
Actually, fair enough, yeah.
That is the siren.
Yes.
You can hear it in the distance. Calling,
And it also
dragging
has
you in.
it has the signature smell of silk cut.
Well, I wouldn't know what those smell like, actually.
Neither do I, in fairness. The other signature smell is, of course, Castrol.
Ah, lovely Castrol.
Oh, lovely bit of Castrol GTX. Nom, nom, nom.
Lovely bit of Castrol, yes.
Adds extra
but,
flavour to your food,
oh
by the
gosh.
way, if you do that.
I suggest strongly, dear listener, you do not take
Yeah,
Rob up on
like-
that cooking, that culinary advice if
Yes,
you value
if you-
your life.
If you take my culinary advice, then A, you're stupid, and B, I am not liable for your utter stupidity.
And your ultimate death. But, yes, moving swiftly along.
Yes, we come to the Monegasque team, the Venturi Formula E team, with the VM200-FE-03.
No, I think that should be read. The Venturi VM200 FE03.
Yeah, and they've got a couple of Mercedes DTM drivers.
Not a Mercedes team.
No, not at all.
Sorry.
Not at all Mercedes.
I just had something in my throat. I had to clear that
oh,
out.
did
Did you have a Mercedes stuck in
Yes,
his throat?
yes.
Awfully sorry about
Had nothing
that.
to do at all with the fact that they're a junior Mercedes team.
Yes. They've got the Swiss-Italian driver Ido Mortara, and they've got Mauro Engel behind the wheel of the car. I thought Engel done all right in his first season last year.
Another team who is presumably there to be at the back of the grid again.
Yeah.
I just don't see them moving up. It's not through the lack of trying, though. It's just I don't see them moving past manufacturer teams.
Yeah.
Particularly with the skills of Eduardo Matara and Mauro Engel.
Yes.
No detriment to them, of course. They just
I mean-
don't have any experience.
I can see why they put Mortara in the car, given that he is a bit handy on a certain street circuit in
circuit.
Asia called
You
Macau.
mean Macau, yeah.
Yes, he is
Presumably the
awfully
only
handy
street
there.
circuit in Asia.
Yes. There is also next team on the list is the.
Well, hang on.
Oh,
I
sorry.
have my notes, sir. I'm
Oh.
still on them.
Oh, notes. What are these?
Yes, I have very beautiful notes. Very, very well organized notes. For once. ZF
Spit.
Group has. I spent a lot of time on these notes. You respect them.
I was gonna say us making notes. God, that's a first, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They're color coded as well.
Oh my God! What on earth's happening to the world?
Yes. ZF Group steps up their technical support this year to oversee the gearboxes because they kept breaking last season.
Yes.
And if there's one thing ZF knows how to make, it's a damn good gearbox.
Yes, they do seem to be a specialist company when it comes to the making of transmission systems for automobiles.
Yes, because that's really pretty much all they do.
Yes.
But they're making gearboxes for them this season. Season 5 will see them step up to focus on the inverter, the motor, and the gearboxes. And keeping in line with what we were mentioning earlier, the potential driver lineup that they have now is officially from the team nothing to do with Mercedes affiliation. But HWA is on the horizon and are looking at possibly taking over the Venturi team, if not running their own team before becoming the Mercedes team. Yes.
Most interesting.
Yes. Lots of food to chew on there.
Yes. Bit like that bag of crisps I had earlier.
We all had.
Yes, your crunchy bag of crisps.
Most wonderful.
Moving swiftly on to Dragon Racing.
Penske. Sorry, I had something in my throat there.
No, not Penske. No.
Oh.
I'll have you know, this is a less successful Penske. This is J Penske, the
Oh, right, I see.
the
So
wannabe
if it's,
Penske, not the Penske who's done anything. Penske.
Yes. So if it's run by Roger Penske, then it is legit Penske. If it's run by
If
J
it's run by
Penske.
J Penske, it's Dragon Racing and it's done nothing.
Okay, that's that
Harsh
makes sense.
but true.
Yeah.
Wasn't Nelson Piquet with Dragon when he won the first Formula E title? Oh,
that
No,
was
he was
Next
with Next
Dev.
TV. Did you just say Next Ev?
Yes.
I forgot
It's
that they
Next
were.
EV.
I forgot that they'd have a livery.
Oh,
change.
God damn it.
No, he moved. No, hold on.
They've had a name change
PK
as well, but moving on.
He moved to Next TV, so
No, Josh, I'll straighten this out. This confusion you're having. The team he was with already for the first 3 seasons was Next TV. He's always been with Next TV, but initially
China
they were
Racing.
Next TV, then they were Next TV Team China, or they were Team China Racing. Then they switched to Next TV. Then they switched to
Okay.
Next TV Neo. But he's
did-
only been with Next
I didn't
TV
know there'd
for
been
his
a team
season before
name
going to
change
Jaguar
there,
this
so-
season. They've gone through 7
3 seasons.
7 name changes, I think.
Yes, they've changed their name. No, they've literally changed their name for the start of every season so far, including this
so far,
one.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not confusing at all, Josh. It's fine.
Yes.
But going back to Dragon Racing.
Yes, I was going to say
are,
yes.
They are fielding the Penske EV2 for the number 6 of Neil Johnny and the number 7 of Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Neil Yarny. Could this be something to do with
It has nothing to do with
Porsche?
Porsche. No, absolutely nothing to do with Porsche because they were supposed to have Porsche engineers on with the team, but Jay Penske said no, so that
But
deal
they
got
kept-
scrapped.
Well, then Jay Penske is quite frankly an idiot.
Well, there's actually more to this because you'll notice that there is a name change this season as opposed to last season. Do you remember what they were last season?
Oh yes, Faraday Future Dragon Racing, because they presumably realised that Faraday Future was clearly never going to really work.
Have any money?
Or have any money for that matter. Yeah, quite right.
Yeah, so they went back to being Dragon Racing.
Fair enough.
And they're exploring a potential move to Los Angeles to be closer to tech companies in California.
I thought you were going to say closer to where you lived.
Well, they're a bit closer. They're going to Los Angeles. But Faraday Future is
Yes.
becoming closer to where I live,
And
and I
actually-
don't see them coming in.
Oh, I was
anytime
going to
soon.
say, I was going to say they're coming even closer to where Mikhail lives, to the point where Mikhail's house will probably be next to the Dragon Racing Team's
Oh,
factory.
that would be brilliant. Yes.
Oh, them
Like,
being
so,
based
what's
in
going
Long
on there?
Beach.
They're doing things.
Yeah, like literally, we have to send Mikhail round once a week to bait them and try and get news.
News, yes.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're looking to go to Los Angeles to be close to Silicon Valley. The Porsche thing didn't pan out, but there will be Porsche engineers still attending races, according to Andreas Seidel. Their car this year is new, believe it or not.
what?
Yes, I know. They have a new single-speed transmission,
Dun dun dun.
as well as re-engineered Mahindra gearboxes, cases, and suspension packaging.
In fairness, the Mahindra was actually a very
Won
good
a couple
car.
of races. Well, won one
Well,
race,
theirs
didn't
have
it?
been re-engineered Mahindra gearboxes, so they're not exactly Mahindra things. They're just
Yes.
re-engineered by the team, apparently. And Magnetti Morelli will continue supplying motors and inverters.
Ooh, very nice.
So they are doing their own thing again.
Yes. A kind of
Just
Frankenstein's monster of a car.
well, it might work out. We never know. They aren't slouches, really. If there's any team that has performance out of the midfield teams that aren't manufacturers, it's Dragon. Especially since they have good drivers behind the wheel. It'll be interesting to see how Neil Yanni does in a single-seater for the first time in 12 years? 13 years?
Oh god,
Ever since he left Champ Car,
oh bloomin' heck, yeah.
which I think was 2003, yeah.
I'm having a. Oh no! Unfortunately, it is 2008 when he raced in the 2007-2008 A1 GP season.
Is A1GP,
Well, it
though,
was
a
a
real
real single-seater.
single-seater series, if we're being honest?
Well, it had one seat and open wheels. So...
Well, Champ Car was a better series, but
oh yeah,
moving
much
on.
better. Actually, no, he done 2008-2009 season. The one where they literally only done half a season because
That doesn't
money
count
and
then.
reasons and stuff. Yeah.
Ferrari engine's still being stored somewhere in a Swiss garage, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they're actually planning to use the old A1 GP car for an African motor series now called Afrat.
Oh, God.
These
Things are as old as Swiss cheese are gonna fall apart.
That's true.
Anyway, moving back to
Yes,
relevant
I was going to say
single-seater
back
racing.
to relevance. Renault Edams other cheeses are available.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very, very well done. Would have
Thank you.
slightly been better if they were Swiss or if they were Belgian.
Yes, but they are from
mean
another
Dutch,
famous
excuse me.
cheese producing country, which is Le Français.
They are France. Frenchy French.
Yes. And they have a Swiss driver, and Sebastian Buemi,
At the moment,
season
they
2
have
champion.
a Swiss driver, yes. But their car is the Renault ZE17, reflecting that it is the 18 season. So
Yes.
their drivers are the number 8s of Nicolas Prost and Formula E champion, number 9 of Sebastian Buemi.
Yes. Nicolas, can I have one of your F1 titles, please, Dad? Prost.
Very well done. Well, he has a sports car title to his name. Oh wait, no, Wood. Never mind. He doesn't have that. Forgot that. Never mind. Moving past. that
Buemi
swiftly.
does. 2014, when him and Davidson won
Well,
work for Toyota.
Hang on, Rob. He doesn't have a sports car championship to his name. He is a world champion, non-stop.
Exactly.
He's not just a sports car champion. He is a world champion. There's a difference.
Yes. And
Yes.
actually, looking through Prost's racing record, he has done quite a bit of electric racing, actually, going back to 2009.
The
Was there electric
trophy
racing going on in
Andros trophy
2009?
cars, yes.
Yes, the
Right?
electric class of the Trophy
Andros
Andros
trophy, yes.
Oh,
ice racing.
Yes.
Those weird-looking little hatchback things. Yeah.
Olivier and Aurelien Panis both do that.
Yep.
And Ivan Mullis, I think, still holds the record for winning 111 titles or something like that.
Well, you would expect him to, because he's just, that's what he does. You put Ivan Muller in a car, you expect him to win 1,000 titles, otherwise he's failed.
Yeah,
Yeah, but going back to the Renault Edams, they have minor updates to the car, mainly focusing on working the tires, because last season they could not get a grip on getting heat into the tires.
Wow.
This will be the final season of Renault's involvement before transitioning to their sister brand of Nissan for Season 5.
10 for Ivan Muller.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was just counting. Ivan Muller has 10 Andros Trophy titles. In fact, Nico Prost's dad,
I thought we had moved on.
Alan, is a 3-time champion. Most recently won it in 2012-2013. So
Oh wow, Alain Prost won it in 2012 and 2013.
the 2012/13 season, because it's Winter Series.
That's
I feel I
amazing.
have lost the control of this podcast already.
Yeah, you probably have.
No, that happened when I was on the bus, mate. Let's be honest.
Well, we weren't recording then. Spoiler alert.
Yes, the sight of me actually. Yes, they got to listen to the joyful sound of me running.
It was quite joyful, actually.
It was
Yes.
very entertaining.
Yes, quite joyful. But moving back to Renault Edams for a second
Yes,
time.
sorry. Yes, it's Nissan, I believe, are taking over because I think they're owned by the
Season
same parent
5,
company.
the Renault Nissan Mitsubishi Alliance. Yes. Because Renault own Nissan and Nissan own Mitsubishi. And they're all part of an alliance. But yes, it'll switch over to their sister brand for Season 5. Nissan being the brand, which puts into doubt the continuation of Sebastian Buemi being an Edams driver, because he is contracted to Toyota for the 2018-19 Super Season. Unless, of course, Monsieur Buemi is part of the driver shuffle at Toyota, which I highly suspect he's not part of.
Because Buemi's a world-class driver.
Yes, and I suspect he'd rather let go of Formula E than WEC. And,
Yes.
well, competing Japanese brands.
Mm.
There is an interesting note to that, though, is that Edams isn't assured to be the team of choice for Nissan going forward. So Edams will be in Formula E, regardless of who Nissan chooses, if it's not them.
Yeah, that is most interesting.
Yes, I thought that was rather interesting.
The next team is the Neo Formula E team, with their Next EV
Formerly
Neo
known as Next
Sporters-
TV.
Sport 003. Yes, formerly known as Next EV Neo Formula E, formerly known as Next
China
EV.
Racing.
Team China, Next TV TCR or something. Yeah.
Yes, and China Racing Formula E team and Next EV TCR
Funnily
Formula
enough,
E
I
team.
remember seeing them race at Long Beach in a silver-red livery for Team China Racing and Next TV. That's how long ago that was. That was their name.
Why?
Yeah, because I
Crikey.
saw them race
I
at Long
remember-
Beach in the original livery.
I remember watching it on TV.
Long Beach, there's a race that needs to come back because I missed that one.
Yes.
But going back to Neo, they have the Next EV Neo Sport 003, as Rob has mentioned. A complete new lineup this season.
Not really.
Was Oliver Turvey their driver last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, fair enough. I apologize.
And I think the season
Um,
before that as well.
Yes.
Was he?
Well, no, I think.
Yeah, I think he
Oh, yeah, he was,
subbed
he was.
at the. I think he made his debut at the first London E-Prix back at the end of season 1.
Shows how much I paid attention to Neo then.
Yeah, he done the whole
their
of season 2 and season 3.
Their drivers are the number 16 of Oliver Turvey, the Englishman, and the name that probably will seem familiar to a lot of you, which is the number 68 of Luca Filippi. No?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
one?
yeah. I remember him winning in GP2. Yeah.
Yes, I can remember him spending an awfully long time in GP2 to the point that he'd actually may have taken up squatters' rights because he'd been in it for so long.
Well, I guess that's better. That's better for you. I just remember him being an excellent IndyCar driver when he was there.
Ah, yes, driving for quite a few teams actually.
Quite a few teams, yes. He was bits and pieces here and there, but
Got
yes,
a podium for Ed Carpenter's team.
Had a large crash in GP2 one year. Was that at Valencia?
What, where he rolled it?
No, he never. I don't think he rolled one. I think he actually had a couple of large accidents in GP2, but.
Because I was going to say, because I can remember a
in
crash
fairness,
at Valencia.
most drivers in GP2 or GP3 have had large accidents. That's what it's there for.
I suppose so.
Quite frankly, if you haven't balled it, that means you're really good, or you just haven't learned to crash where you're supposed to be crashing.
Or you're not going fast enough, as Mario Andretti points out.
Which is basically what I just said.
Yeah.
If you haven't crashed, that means you're either not going quick enough, or you're just that good. But yes, they have the Luca Filippi's talents joining them to replace the outgoing champion of ex-champion on their team, which was Nelson Piquet Jr. They also have a new reserve driver.
Me.
One of the few teams with a reserve driver, and that is Ma Qinghua.
Oh, well,
yes.
At least he's not racing.
Well, he was racing last season. A couple races for Techeetah, did rather well.
No, he didn't.
He got points for them.
He was the slowest driver I've ever seen in Formula E, and I don't know why he was there. I mean,
That's not entirely true. Michaela Cerruti was very, very slow in her Truly.
I must apologise for if he's actually listening to this podcast, which he won't be, but I mean,
I'm gonna find him and give him a link just in spite of you.
he was just he was.
Yes, we'll give him the link.
He was miles behind everyone. I mean, I remember there was one period where every time you'd see him on the screen was when he crashed, which was pretty much every event.
Oh god, that reminds me, the final Season 2 Championship decider at London.
Yeah,
he spent the entire race
lead.
either being in front of Degrassi or in front of Buemi, much to the chagrin of the pair of them and their own pit crews.
Yeah, he was just there to get in the way, I'm afraid.
Yes.
No wonder they replaced him early, but never mind.
And the next team is Techeetah, who are basically running what Renault Edams is running, the Renault ZE.17, for Jean-Éric Verne and some bloke called Andre Lotterer. Also.
Sorry, I had to switch on a fan because I'm boiling over here. It's hot.
It's freezing over here. Please.
Well, good for. I'd rather have your weather actually.
Hey? Oh, that's weird. I'd much rather have something a bit.
Well,
warmer.
it was raining earlier here, but now it's hot and stuffy in my room. So yes.
Ah, right, okay.
Anyway, going back to Neo before I had to step away. Ma Qinghua is the reserve driver for Neo. This is excellent news for Formula E and for Next EV Neo, as they are both pushing for a Shanghai E-Prix to happen, so they can go back to mainland China.
But Hong Kong is rather popular, I think.
Well, it's also not mainland China. It's also not China.
Ish.
You'll find its own nation that isn't quite Chinese.
Right. Say, I'll need to double check, see if it's recognised by the United Nations as a sovereign state.
It isn't.
It more or less is.
I'm pretty sure it isn't.
Oh, right, okay.
It's a sovereign city-state within China. It's technically owned by China, but it's a city-state.
It's basically the Chinese equivalent of Monaco, and what Monaco is to France, Hong Kong is to China.
I basically look at it as our version of Puerto Rico, basically.
Right.
But moving past political things, the team will continue for their final season, it seems, with their twin-motor setup and a new rear-end housing for the car, which means that they'll have they won't be going down the route of single gearboxes like most of the teams have on the grid. And that's their technical details. That are new. Other than that, the car is pretty much lighter, and it's sticking to their guns because they are, much to the chagrin of the Neo management, they are not a privateer team, as most people find them. They are a dedicated EV manufacturer.
Yes.
Because, lest we forget, these are the people who made the EP9 electric road car that has set stonkingly quick lap times around the Nürburgring.
And then
And
killed Richard Hammond.
quite a few
And
other
Coda.
trucks. And Shanghai.
Say again?
And then
Josh?
it nearly killed Richard Hammond. But...
No, that was the
No,
Rimac.
that's
Oh, the Rimac, yeah,
Rimac
never
Project
mind,
1.
okay.
That's, or Concept 1, excuse me. That's a different
Ignore
company.
me.
Yes.
Who would be rather welcome to be coming to FE, I imagine, if they wanted to.
Yes.
Except they actually market things that work.
Ouch.
But moving swiftly past that, we will be going to Techita, the Chinese team.
Yes, they're running basically
The
what Renault's
Renault
running.
ZE17, yes.
For
For the number 18 of Andre Lotterer and the number 25 of Jean-Eric Vergne.
is
Or
Andre,
Jev.
Andre Lotter, has he ever done anything in his career?
He
Struggling.
did one F1 race once.
With the awfully slow Caterham.
Yes, and he
But,
absolutely destroyed Marcus Ericsson that weekend.
It's not hard to destroy Marcus Ericsson.
I know, but given that it was his first time driving the car, it was still quite funny, actually, if we're being honest.
He didn't destroy Marcus Ericsson, did he?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he was way quicker than him all weekend.
comprehensively.
I'm going to search that.
And it was his first time in
And
a
if-
modern F1 car.
And if it weren't for the fact that the engine went pop on at like the end of lap 1, he probably would have done a dance like better than him in the race. Actually speaks more about Andre Lotterer as a
Oh, he
driver.
did. Look at that.
And a
Look
four-time
at
Le Mans winner.
that. That's a second faster in qualifying.
I knew
Yes.
that would excite Josh.
That's unbelievable. That's very nearly a second faster than his teammate in qualifying. I mean, this guy's amazing.
There's a reason why Audi chose him to be one of their drivers, Josh.
Well, why didn't Andre Lotterer... Oh, he did only last one lap, I'm afraid. Electrical issues, actually, not engine, but...
Near enough.
That's same parlance in F1. Electrical issues literally means engine, but they don't want to say engine.
But why didn't... I mean, why wasn't he hired again? If he's beaten his teammate by a second in his first time in the car...
Keep in mind, this was the same season they replaced other drivers with Kamui Kobayashi
Oh,
as well.
Kobayashi's
Yes.
not bad.
Oh.
I mean, he holds the lap record at Le Mans.
Oh, God. I've just seen the audio position on here.
Audio position.
What?
1 hour 49
Okay, well,
minutes.
we better...
Yeah, but the other
Yeah.
bits will be cut out because of the parts, yeah, so we're
Oh,
fine.
yeah, true. My bad.
But yes, Techita will be running their customer Renault cars. But like mentioned earlier, probably will be a factory DS performance team in Season 5. Because Virgin will be looking to get their things elsewhere. For some reason. I have no idea why, but that's how it's happening, I guess.
Yes.
Well, in fairness, Techita are a very good team in their
yes.
defense. They are a very good team using customer cars, no doubt.
Oh.
So I suppose that's why. But yes, moving on to another manufacturer, which is Mahindra Racing.
Oh, the M4 Electro.
Ah, the best named car on the grid. The Mahindra M4 Electro. Sounds like something you want, actually.
Well, an M4 is a BMW.
And it's...
No, it's the M4 Electro. Sounds like a scooter.
It does, actually.
Oh dear. The driver lineup consists of a young Swedish bloke who will drive anything that has 4 wheels and moves, and an older German bloke who hasn't actually won an FIA race since the 1990s.
Oh, that's harsh. He's won sports car races. Leave that man alone.
Class wins, and overall at Petit Le Mans, but I don't think that was an FIA
who's
sanctioned
this?
event.
You
Nick
don't need to win
Heidfeld.
it. You don't need to win FIA sanctioned races to be a good driver, Rob.
Yes, I know.
You of all
I
people
know.
should know this.
Yes, I know,
he
but
should have won the very
other-
first Formula E race if he hadn't got completely annihilated by Nico Prost.
Yes, that was a slight coming together.
Oh, that's right. He was that one who crashed. Now I
Yes,
remember.
he's still the only person to actually roll a Formula E car, which is actually
He's
some
the only
going.
he was the only driver to ever be going quick enough to roll an FE car.
He was the only driver to be walloped like that, really.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, the Mahindra M4 Electro. It should be quick if last year's car was anything to go
We
by.
actually don't know what it looks like because they haven't shown it yet. Because they have a design contest, or had a design contest for people to design it, because their designers are too damn lazy to make their own liveries.
Yes, and they thought that people online could
They
do a
thought
better
people
job.
would do it for free. Yes.
Well, that's just trying to get fan interest, really. But
Yeah.
It's just not getting it properly done by a designer. But yeah.
Yes.
Moving on. They have invested in a new engineering facility in Banbury.
Ooh.
Ooh, indeed, yes, because it has a state-of-the-art simulator and design office there.
Is this near the? Oh no, I was
It's
gonna
not
say
the old
state-of-the-art
F1
simulator.
manor
I have a
offices.
state-of-the-art simulator in my home, sitting right in front of me.
Not like the one that they have, which can include real-time data from the drivers on track at actual tracks. Apparently, to feedback to their simulators.
I suppose so. You can generate better forces than
they
mine
have
can,
complicated things. On their. Do you want me to dig out the information on the simulator because I can?
but that'd be
yes,
interesting. Actually.
please.
Oh, okay, let me pull
I
that
don't
up
know
then.
if we have enough time though. As Rob said, we.
Yes, we
Okay.
got time. We spent a
It's
few
like,
minutes
I'll
waiting
make
for you
time.
we spent a few minutes waiting for you to kick Audacity up the you know what and get fraps
Well,
up.
and
So
you
we've got
and
time.
you making noises, shall we? say.
Yes, just because I just found a picture of an indie.
Oh no, I've done it again.
Oh, go on, we've got
Right,
these.
okay. They have announced a deal for a brand new simulator that's been commissioned by Dutch technology specialist Cruden. The Cruden package comes with Panthera simulator software that allows Mahindra's existing vehicle model, which is also used for lap time simulation, to be integrated and used as a real-time driver in the Loop Simulation Model, or DIL, as well as access to a full library of Formula E street circuits. Mahindra has supplemented its track testing recently with the use of the AVL testing facility in Graz, Austria. Team engineers spent several days there, recently utilizing the powertrain and vehicle dynamic testing facility ahead of Hong Kong. On top of this, they are also investigating the use of semiconducting technology through the use of silicon carbide. And are expected to announce a deal with the manufacturer this weekend at Hong Kong. For those who don't know, silicon carbide is it basically makes electronics smaller, stronger, and faster. And silicon carbide is a compound of silicon and carbon, which, when produced, allows it is produced using a crystal growth process of sublimation and exposure to high temperatures of about 2,000 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so a bit warmer than the oven in the kitchen then.
Just slightly a bit warmer than that, Rob, yes.
Okay, yeah, right, that's cool. Nice to know.
The major advantages being that you can make components like inverters smaller and lighter. Apparently, they've already trimmed about 20 kilograms off its Season 3 package.
Oh, wow.
With just 3 kilos of that coming from an advanced paint supplier, which just sounds like Aero paint to me. But,
That's what I was going to
yes.
say. Is it Aero paint by any chance?
Just sounds like Aero to me.
Yes. I was reading something on Andy Blackmore's site earlier, or was it Speed Hunters? I can't remember now, about the Golf liveries McLaren F1 GTR of about 1996.
If
And
this
they-
doesn't have a point very quickly,
It
I'm going to
does.
cut
It
you
is
off,
about
Rob.
paint, and they actually asked Golf if they could use a solid paint instead of a metallic paint because it was lighter.
And they said no.
They said yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I
That's
don't
why
know.
that particular car is actually a darker blue than the usual Golf livery.
Oh, I wondered why that was the case. I just thought they decided to be different.
No, that's the reason why apparently.
Yes, but Mahindra are being very technological
Oh,
with their
yes.
car.
Incredibly.
Yes, and probably be up at the front winning titles with Felix Rosenquist.
Yes, because Rosenquist is an absolute beast on street circuits, as his Formula 3 record shows.
Anywhere. He's a beast anywhere,
Yeah.
Rob. anywhere. Probably would have won Macau if it wasn't for that stupid qualifying incident.
Yes. And last but not
But
least...
moving swiftly past that, last but not least, the most complicated team on the Formula E grid, MS and AD Andretti Formula E.
With the Andretti ATEC-03, or the Aztec, as it should be called for Mexico City round. Yes.
Add a Z, it'll be fine. Yes.
Yes, they have a two-driver
now,
lineup.
Rob, what do you know about this team? Or what did you presume to know about this team?
They have retained the services of one Mr. Antonio Felix da Costa from Portugal, who's also
at
a BMW
BMW's
driver.
behest, yes.
Yes, because they are pending future cooperation with the German manufacturer. And they've also got some Monegasque driver in the car who's not called Charles Leclerc. He's called a Mr. Kamui Kobayashi.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to say Tom Blomqvist, actually.
No, although Kobayashi's only in for the Hong Kong round, so the chances are,
Yes,
I reckon Blomqvist
to be even
will
more
be in there.
confusing, this team has decided, at the pressure, apparently, of what it seems like, the MS and AD Insurance Group, which is Japanese, they wanted an Asian driver in so badly, so the team caved and put in Kamui Kobayashi for the Hong Kong opener, which has put Tom Blomqvist out of the season, for the full season, in a drive that actually on the entry list he was supposed to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a full season driver for the team. But he dropped them, or he was dropped in favor of Kamui Kobayashi, but now Blomqvist seems to be the full season driver outside of Hong Kong. But then there's rumors that Blomqvist and Alexander Sims could share the car, but you're only allowed 2 driver changes per car per season.
Yeah. What's also interesting is that Kobayashi-san, like at the Spa 24 Hours this year when he drove for Good Smile Racing, is actually competing under a Monegasque.
Yeah, I was about
race
to ask about
license.
that. Why?
He's Japanese. It's just ridiculous. We all know he's Japanese. He just has a license because I assume it's cheaper to get it from Monaco than Japan. Because I don't think he lives in Monaco. Or does he? I'm prepared to be proved wrong if you have the evidence to prove it, so...
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, he's Monegasque according to the thing, but he's Japanese! BMW Motorsport has stepped up their involvement for the team, as evidenced by the fact that Antonio Felix da Costa is in, Robin Frins is out, Tom Blomqvist is in, assumingly, for the full season. Maybe to be shared with Alexander Sims. Nobody knows. They have a name change, their livery's different, everything's different this season.
Yes.
So hopefully they actually bother finishing races.
Yes, and there's also changes to the calendar as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, they've got a new. There'll be 2 races in Hong Kong.
I just said that. It's double header.
Oh, sorry, yeah. And then after that, they've got the Marrakesh race on the World Touring Car Circuit.
On the Marrakesh Express.
Yep. And then after that, it's off to a new street circuit in Santiago, Chile.
It's very chilly here now that you ask, yes.
Yes. And then it's off to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexico City
good
round.
old Mexico City Oval.
And then they're off to a place which you might recognise, Forza.
Oh, really? Would I?
It's the Anhembi circuit.
The Ahembi circuit.
Yes.
Sounds very Brazilian, but...
Yes, it's where the IndyCar series used to race in.
Of course, the Ahembi Autodrome, yes.
Yes, the Sambadrome.
Where they hold Carnival, yes, every
for the
year.
Sao Paulo E-Prix.
Yes. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Very interesting.
After that, it's off to Rome for the Rome E-Prix, and then they've got trips to...
Presumably, if they're being like Rome people driving in Rome, they'll crash into each other all the time.
No, they'll just be roaming around slowly.
Then after that, it's off... And then after that, it's off to
Well, you'll just
Paris.
crash into each other slowly. There you go. Job done.
Then after Paris, it's a trip to the airport to Berlin Tempelhof Airport.
No, that's not fair. That's the best track of all season, Tempelhof.
Yes,
I do really love that track.
And then round 10 on the 10th of June is actually a genuinely historic moment. Yes, it will be the first motor race.
Oh yes, in
held
Switzerland.
in Switzerland
1954.
after the. No,
and
55.
they don't have Simona Di Silvestro on the field. This is a travesty. This needs to be righted immediately.
They have Sebastian Buemi though. Although Simona would be a much better.
Simona Di Silvestro is a much better promotion, in fairness. I mean, no offense to Sebastian Buemi, but.
Yeah. Yes, for the Zurich E-Prix, and then after that, the season ends with 2 double headers. One in Brooklyn for the New York E-Prix, and then
the most boring track possible.
And then off to Montreal, either on the street circuit they used this year, or given that they've got a new mayor in town, a shortened version of the Grand Prix circuit.
Honest question: how can you shorten?
Where do you shorten
Circuit
it?
Gilles Villeneuve? Where do you cut it in half? You can't just cut a park in half. Where are they going to cut it in half?
I can hear you typing up Google Maps.
There is no short layout. You can't just cut that track in half. There's no way, because if they could, they would have done it by now.
Yes, this is the slight issue. For crying out loud, Google Maps, do load.
And I also suspect they would not want to run there because it will make them look really, really slow compared to an F1 car.
In fairness, though, if they do use the Wall of Champions, might be able to get a few more names on the list.
And can you call it the Wall of Champions if Formula E driver crashes into it? Not every one of them is a champion.
Oh,
he doesn't qualify as a champion. I'm sorry. He's just a driver who crashed into the Wall of Champions.
lap record at Le Mans. Nah,
that's not exactly a championship.
That's not a champion. He's a lap record holder, but he's not a champion.
Oh,
it's rather much the syndrome of the race of champions. Half of them aren't actually champions. Which also is really strange. It's going to Saudi Arabia for some bizarre reason.
Oh, I think I figured out the reason why it's going to Saudi Arabia. Money.
Is it? Yeah, well, fair enough.
It's the only It's the only explicable reason as to why that could happen.
Have you found it yet, or no?
Yes, I have found the Circuit Gilles
Villeneuve. Go for a swim in
Villeneuve
the pool.
on
That would
the
work
Ile
well with their
Notre Dame
electric
in
motors.
Montreal. No, you can swim. Just swim down the blooming rowing lake they built for the Olympics in '76. Anyway,
You can't saw that track in half, can you?
there. You
Oh dear,
sort
he's
of.
using his brain so very hard now.
You sort of could. Ish.
This isn't difficult, Rob. It's either a yes or a no.
You sort of could. I mean, there are roads in the middle of the circuit.
That's not possible.
Well, I
for
would have
race
said
on,
that's
though,
about the
is
road
it?
in the middle of Monaco.
Oh.
Well, I
Right,
guess,
give
I
me a
don't know.
couple
See, this
of
is the
minutes.
problem about Formula E tracks. They don't think very straight, where they just go somewhere.
Right, just
'Cause
give me.
honestly, you can't go to Montreal because then they're going to go, oh, we can go on Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and you're thinking, why on earth would you want to do Circuit Gilles Villeneuve? For one thing, it's too long, and
Well, that's okay.
You'll look
they'll just
deadly
shorten
slow
it by
doing
going
so.
straight through the swimming pool, which will work well with their electric motors.
It's not a
that'd
swimming
be brilliant.
pool.
You could turn the race into
a biathlon.
You could turn the race into a biathlon. Yes, you start the race and you finish
The
going to
electric
the
biathlon.
rowing
that
basin.
makes perfect sense. Why haven't we done an electric biathlon yet?
Because water
Exactly.
and electricity doesn't mix all terribly
Oh,
well.
you'll be toweled off before you get in the car, obviously.
Oh no, that just sounds painful.
Actually, no, I figured out how to make pit stops more exciting in Formula E.
Oh yeah.
How?
You race the first car till it's dead. Then you pull it to the rowing basin. You jump in, and then you have to row. You have to swim to the end of the rowing basin at the other end, which is the other car waiting for you. See, job done. They need me in charge
You
of this
would.
series. I'd make it instantly better. Yes, and on that
kilometers.
ridiculous note,
Yes.
we're going to end this episode.
Hold on. I'm nearly done with Montreal.
Because Rob cannot figure out how to saw the track in half.
I've nearly done it. In fairness, I've nearly done it.
You have you? Have you gone all the way to Montreal to do so?
Yes, I've genuinely, done it 3.1 kilometers. So it uses the F1 pit straight through the first corner complex for the F1, through turns 3, 4, turn 5, which is where Panis crashed in 97, and then into the 6-7 chicane, and then shortly after turn 7, sharp 90-degree right-hander, away past La Tundra, and then into a left-right chicane, which ends up being into another left-hander, past literally right next to the Casino de Montreal, along Avenue de Casino, and then get to the end of that road, turn right, onto the roundabout, build a new link road to link it onto the shortened back straight, and then into the final chicane.
Yes.
In fairness, only a tiny bit of link road would actually need to be built. I'm actually pretty pleased with that.
Well, there you go. For the organizers, get in touch with Rob, and he'll sort you out with his track designing.
If anyone from Formula E is listening and would like this circuit layout, then by all means, I am available on all the usual channels. And if you'd like to give me some money for the privilege of designing on your circuits, then by all means, I will be happy to accept it. Because I'm a student. I'm a university student, and I'm, well, not far off broke, probably, like most of them.
Well, there you go. On Rob's groveling for a job offer, we shall end this episode.
See you on the
Goodbye,
Christmas
everyone. Yes, we will see you at the Christmas special at an undetermined time.
Yes, the Christmas, probably once I've actually finished all my coursework, in fairness.
The Christmas special may or not, which may or may not be the Christmas special.
Depends when it goes up.
No, the Christmas special. Good God, what have we gotten ourselves into? The Christmas special. What can possibly go wrong here?
Go wrong. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, we will be signing off now.
As is the working mantra for the Christmas special already.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.